Welcome back to the Get Loved Up podcast, your number one resource for inspiration and motivation to live your purpose, make healthy living a priority, and thrive doing what you love. I'm your host, Koya Webb, a small town girl who chased her dreams and caught them, a former track and field athlete who healed using spirituality and yoga, and an entrepreneur who didn't let sexual assault, racism, and insecurities dim her light. And now it's your turn to allow these episodes with some of the top voices in spirituality, wellness, and entrepreneurship to inspire you to thrive. Let's get loved up together. Known as One Great Vegan, Gabrielle Reyes is an award-winning singer, actress, chef, cookbook author, TV personality, and tours the world, plus live streams every day, teaching others how to create her musical meals. She is blessed to get her share of her favorite plant-based and full-flavor recipes, plus tips on how to create vibrant dishes through music and song, while helping her followers heal their bodies and feed their souls. She currently hosts the Colorful Home Cooking Show and partners with her favorite brands to combine vegan culinary expertise with her passion for musical performance, and creates entertaining and educational content featuring catchy recipe videos, easy kitchen guidance, mental plus physical health coaching, and of course, mouth-watering meals. Recently, she has been featured on Oprah, Food Network, The Today Show, Access Hollywood, The New York Times, BuzzFeed, Tasty, CBS, Delish, Tastemade, Yahoo News, Good Morning Texas, and The Feed. Sing your song, do your dance, speak your truth. Gabrielle!
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on. I just love the way you sing, the way you just bless the world with your brilliance through song, through food, through your energy. I am just so excited to just share with the Get Loved Up community what you have been doing and how you've been showing up in the world. So I want you to just start off by taking us down memory lane. Like, where did you grow up, and did you always have the desire to sing and cook?
Oh, wow. Well, so I was born in San Diego, California, and my mom's Haitian and my dad is half Puerto Rican. So I always grew up around really good smells, Caribbean, Haitian, Jamaican, Latin flavors. But my parents were also always very poor, to be honest. We didn't have any money. So we didn't have money for beef or fancy meats, or, cheese is expensive. People don't realize that in the reality, when you're poor, fish and cheese and meat, those things are expensive. So I kind of grew up, cooking a lot of traditional Caribbean meals. And my dad was an actor and performer and singer. So of course, I went into the church choir, and that of course became doing theater, and that became doing musicals, and that became doing show choir. And literally since I was 9 years old on, I was musical theater girl, literally president, all that. And so I went to college and I studied acting. And while I was in college, I was so blessed to go vegan. And I woke up and was like, oh my goodness, this is what's going to save me. And it did. And I started cooking. I leaned into my culture without even realizing I was doing it. I was making, dope rice and peas recipes and just really good hearty stews and curries and things like that. And, of course, I was still performing. I was doing just acting and more film and TV, commercials and stuff like that. But I was still singing. Of course, I couldn't help it. But I will say I wasn't as confident because I felt like I wasn't a musical theater person. I wasn't at that caliber, Broadway, mm-hmm. right? So I ended up graduating college, and I ended up doing Dreamgirls at the Regional Theater in Dallas. And they just won a Tony Award. So I was like, woo, woo, I'm in with the big dogs, And so I felt so blessed because after that, I got to do show after show after show. And I ended up meeting my husband. And when I met my husband, my whole life changed. And he started eating my vegan food. I made him sweet potato chili. I made him, fried jackfruit. We started experimenting, Jamaican rice and peas, purple stew, oxtail. We just started playing around, and he's a musician in his own way. So of course he couldn't help but we couldn't help but just start singing about the food because it was literally that good that we were making. So it kind of just started turning into a joke in a way that we kind of kept to ourselves. We didn't really share it with anybody. But then my husband, invested in me and told me, hey, you should start a catering company. And so I started a catering company. I did meal prep and catering, and I would travel all across the country, popping up and doing events, like any kind of vegan festival you go to. I was that girl cooking, schlepping out mac and cheese and all that. And I realized one time I did a news interview and I was like, oh, wow, I'm really good at talking about this opposed to just making it. I prefer that instead, in fact. And so my husband, of course, he's a graphic designer, he just does everything. So he created a brand for me and really just started taking videos of me. And I didn't sing in them at first, but I couldn't help but have a sing-songy voice and start just going on about whatever the ingredients were. And it just happened to come out in song. And one video, it was, let's see, I don't remember exactly which one it was. It was the peanut butter balls. I made a cocoa peanut butter ball recipe. And I was cocoa peanut butter ball, cocoa peanut butter ball. Hey, cocoa peanut butter balls. And I just, yes, God.
Yes.
And I couldn't help but just vibing because I listen to a lot of lo-fi hip hop. I grew up around so much different kinds of music, from musical theater, classic, rap, hip hop, Christian, soul, everything. So I can't help but harmonize and sing. And so people loved it. And I took that little clip and posted it on Instagram. We're like, more of this. We need more of this. And here we are.
I love that. And that's how I met you. I met you on TikTok when I was trying to figure out TikTok. I'm still trying to figure out TikTok. But I was like, who is this woman? And you were just singing, and you just have so much soul too. And it's so eclectic, and it's so soulful, and it's so catchy. And I was just like, I love this woman. And then I saw you on Instagram and I was just like, wow. And then just to witness your growth.
It's been a blessing.
Right? But before we get into that, I want to go back because, as you know, a lot of people are making the decision thanks to social media. I really have to, social media gets a lot of bad slack. But when it comes to veganism, I do think we've grown as much as we have because of social media. But I want you to take us back to that moment when you said you woke up and this is going to solve all your problems. Because I really, we're gonna get to the highlight reel. You got a lot of highlights. But I really want to take people that will look at you now and say, oh, she just got it made, And I know you say you had, humble beginnings, but what was that point that really made you say, I'm going to go vegan, or I'm going to change my lifestyle in this way?
Definitely. Well, so I was studying acting, right? And with studying acting or being in any kind of performative space, you recognize that people are going to look at you and judge you and think of you. And, we're still coming back from that time, the 90s, where it was you had to be thin, super thin, no curves, perfectly straight hair. If you wore your hair out, what's wrong with you? So I kind of had all of that baggage, I think, from my past. And when I was 17, my father passed suddenly. So I think it was a combination of, the insecurities that came with number one, society, number two, being an actor, number three, the loss of my father suddenly in my life. I lost control and I became bulimic. And I was binging and purging on horrible foods. I mean, just the worst foods. But I thought because I was purging, it wouldn't affect me and I'd be fine. And, it's a psychological disease in a sense. It really is just a sickness that you feel every single day. And then one day, literally, I was at a tailgate and I ate everything horrible you could eat at a tailgate, every part of animal products that I would never even think about eating today. And I gorged myself on it because I knew I was going to do what I always do, which was go back to the sickening cycle of, binging and purging. And I went upstairs and I remember the moment when I was I heard a voice that said, go vegan. And I was like,
wow.
Okay. I don't want to die anymore. I don't want to be sick anymore. I don't want to hate myself. I don't want to look at myself in the mirror and be like, you are worthless. I don't want to look in the mirror and be like, you are disgusting. You are guilty. You are hated. Like, I didn't want to feel that anymore. And I didn't know this was the answer, but I knew that going vegan was a life of simplicity, was a life of purity, was a life of kindness to not only my body, but other bodies and the whole world in general. And the only reason I knew that was because when I was like 12 years old, I went to a vegan restaurant with my dad. And I remember just having such a great experience. And I never had that vegan stigma, you know, like, oh, vegans, woo-woo. I had friends that were vegetarian. I was like, whoa, I could never. But I never judged it. And so when I heard that voice, whether it be the universe, God, you know, Allah, whatever, my dad, his spirit, something told me go vegan, and I never looked back. And it was the best decision I ever made in my life, because instantly, as soon as I stopped putting death and suffering into my body, I didn't feel like death and I wasn't suffering. And now, you know, that was in 2011. Now looking at it, I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize that the suffering that those animals were feeling, like that pain, was literally going into my body, and I didn't even acknowledge it. And so now, obviously, I can't even imagine going back to consuming animal products. Number one, because the way I feel. Number two, I have so much more energy. My skin is, you know, the laundry list of benefits, and also my spirit. And I feel like I have a purpose now too. I recognized in that moment that my purpose was to share the possibility of healing with plants, you know, and the joy that can come with it, not the fear and the terrorizing, the sad part of like, oh, I have to only eat plants. No, like it can be abundant and it can be such an incredible experience of flavor and fun. And so I think since then, I just started piling on what that meant to me and what that looked like. And yeah, meeting my husband was a big part in like really, you know, owning my vegan voice and really just, I saw his journey into going vegan. He went vegan after meeting me and eating my food. And I was like, oh, word. And what's crazy is like, then I saw it start to happen to my friends. Like they just started being influenced in real life.
Right. Yeah.
by my choices. And so I was like, oh, I should start posting about this.
That is so amazing. I love how you said they're being influenced in real life, because we can get so caught up in social media. We don't realize like even the people around us are also getting influenced by the choices that we make. And it's not even about forcing it, but just being it, and you live it, you breathe it, and you share it, you know, in real life. So I love that.
I try to share. You know, food is my love language. I always have loved food. When I was a kid, I loved watching Food Network. I loved watching like every one of those shows truly inspired me. And I read cookbooks. You know, I didn't really read it. I would just look at the pictures and think of it. And I always loved the color. I didn't like the plain gray, you know, just meat. I always liked the vibrancy in it. So it always made sense now, looking back at what I loved to do as a child, which was perform and sing and dance, as well as cook, as well as now it's cool because I get to honor my culture and, you know, pay homage to my ancestors who did eat plant-based and, you know, focus back on really what got us here, you know, and how I became who I am by honoring them with traditional recipes, or at least recipes that honor the plants in that native area.
Right. Oh, that's beautiful. And I know you said there's a laundry list of benefits, but I will say not everybody who listens to this podcast is vegan. Actually we might have maybe, I don't even know if it's 50%. So can you share with people, what are some of those things you notice after transitioning? I
should do a whole song about it. Honestly,
oh, that's a good idea.
That will be fun.
Let's do it.
Clear skin, better side. Everything's feeling all right. Clear skin, digestion is good. You know I'm getting the food. Ooh. Hey, come on. We vibing. But for real, digestion, clear skin. My eyesight's always been bad, so I didn't get better eyesight like some people. I mean, thicker, more abundant hair. just the energy, not that heaviness. I don't feel that weight. I mean, I've lost weight, of course, but, I've gained it back. I've lost it back. But it's more of that feeling of I don't know how to explain it. There's a density that comes when you eat animal products that just weighs you down. That's what, you have the itis and people talk about that you're tired. I'm not tired. I mean, I might take a nap after I eat, but more than likely I'm like, goom, 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 ready to go. I always have energy, and people always joke. They're like, I wish I had this much girl's energy. And I'm like, I'm literally showing you how. Here's the recipe, And so it's an overall experience. I mean, my mind is clearer. I love my life better. I mean, I found my husband, I'm not saying going vegan will make you fall in love, but going vegan will remove an aspect of despair and sadness and cruelty from your life. Like, you don't have to partake in death. Oh, and that's like one of my favorite parts, honestly, is the fact that you don't have to partake in suffering, death, or inequality. Like, what an incredible stance that you can make, not only to humans, like respecting other humans who are having to work at those places, that don't want to work there because they were forced to work. You know what I'm saying? Respect people in that way, but also respecting the beings of this earth. So, I mean, it's just a freedom. It feels free. I feel free now that I'm vegan because I don't have to worry about the pain, the suffering, disease. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like eating good in the neighborhood. Eating beautiful.
I love that. And you do eat good. I just really love it. Now I want to talk a little bit about your culture, because I love how you bring forth your culture. Can you talk a little bit about when you started? Did you always infuse the flavors and spices of your culture? And I know you use flavors and spices of a lot of other cultures as well. So can you talk a little bit about what that means to you and how you infuse that in your food?
Definitely. So back when I was a wee little fluff, my mom cooked Haitian food all the time, but I just thought it was food. And so the spices like allspice and, thyme and bell peppers and, potatoes, we ate beef and things like that too. That was traditional in Haitian food. But for me, it was all about the seasoning and spices. So I think once I went vegan, not when I wasn't vegan. When I wasn't vegan, I was just eating standard American food, a standard American diet, a sad diet, if you will. And I was just Taco Bell, fried chicken, Chick-fil-A, whatever BS I was putting into my mouth and not recognizing it. But once I went vegan, I recognized like, oh my goodness, number one, seasoning is everything. Number two, it's so easy to make Latin food. It's so easy to make the soups and stews that I grew up loving, but I can just use jackfruit or mushrooms. I made so much rice and beans, and if that is not the most Caribbean Latin food I don't know what to tell you. Rice and beans is like the staple. And it's incredible how inexpensive it is and how versatile it is. One of my favorite recipes to create would be a sheet pan dinner, but it would have that clove and that allspice and that thyme and all those flavors I liked growing up, as well as, if I wanted to add in some cumin, smoked paprika and things like that, or sofritos and things like that. It just depended, but it was always inspired by other cultures. I don't think I really started making, honestly, like classic American soul food until I met my husband. And when I met my husband, I started making specifically Jamaican food. And that's when things got crazy and so good. Like, we make so much good Jamaican food. And what's great is we feed them to his Jamaican family, like his grandma, these are legit Jamaicans, okay? And so we're feeding it to them and they approve. And that's all the validation I need. All the validation.
Right? It's like once your family approve, you're like, I'm good. If you could take some authentic Southerners, authentic Jamaicans, authentic Haitians, and they can't tell the difference, or they say it's better. That is beautiful.
But it's better though.
It's better for you. And so have you noticed, like, within your family as well? I know you say your husband, like, he transitioned, right away when you all start, when he started tasting your food. So what did you notice about his journey?
Oh, Lord, bless my spirit. Well, okay, so he had a lot of stomach issues, digestion. He was really struggling with like the digestion thing. So that was the main thing that really was just completely cleared up. As soon as he started incorporating plants into his day-to-day diet, I mean, there was not an issue. And, you know, I ain't putting his business out there like that, but when we first met, he got sick, really sick. And this was like week 1 into us meeting. And I remember like, you know, taking care of him and being like, man, he's a real one. Cause like I'm out here taking care of this guy I just met. And I remember it was from chicken. He ate Cane's chicken. And I remember just being like, man, you gotta go vegan in my head. But I remember thinking I will make so much delicious food for you. And basically it worked. But the thing for him that was the switch that really made him recognize like, oh, eating plant-based is the best, was watching What the Health. He watched it and was like, oh, okay. And then he felt it too. He already knew like where his body was going because he had eaten like 2 weeks vegan. He felt the changes in his digestion and stuff like that. So yeah.
I love that. Thanks for sharing that so much. And just congratulations on having that ability to share what you're passionate about with someone you love and be supported fully by them. Because I think that's what's so beautiful about your union and watching it is just the fact that y'all are making these things together. Sometimes it's just a person and you never see the significant other, but I think there's so much power in seeing a couple make that choice together. And I know it's not always easy. So, because not only the food, but also the business that you all do together. So has that been tough? Like, you know, infusing the business, or has it been all?
Oh, no. I mean, like the reality of the situation is that, you know, my husband and I, we met and then we fell in love pretty instantly, right? We became best friends and I started helping him with his business. He graphic design, photography, showing up, just assisting. So we kind of got into this pattern of just back and forth. But it was when I started filming more YouTube content and stuff like that, where it was like late nights, midnight, you know, and then all the footage is lost. We have to film again. It was when we got into that things that he started to not enjoy the process. And I'm not going to make him do something he doesn't enjoy. Like I'm not going to be in a relationship. That is not fair to anybody involved. I don't care if it's making me money, and it wasn't. Like, I just don't care. You know, it just wasn't worth his sadness. And so it took about, I would say, like a solid year for us to figure out what it means to work together and how much I can do, how much work he can do beforehand, what work he enjoys doing. Like, he loves doing my website. He loves designing like all of my press materials and things like that, really creating the envision. He did my whole cookbook. So he loves designing and stuff but he doesn't really like taking photos and stuff like that. So there's parts that we have to just balance back and forth, but he understands like, okay, I take photos for her. She takes photos for me, and it's a symbiotic relationship, but we're okay with also expressing what we don't enjoy doing in hopes and for preparation that one day, neither of us are going to have to do either of it. Ultimately, the goal is to, you know, one day have a cooking show of my own. One day he has a whole team of people helping him create content so that we can create happily and not have to rely on each other's schedules. So now, since, 2021, we've been blessed because we've figured it out. He does like all of my beatboxes, he does beforehand. Like that's been re-recorded for like over a year. And he just basically at this point, comes in for like 5 minutes for every recipe I do. And he takes photos and he does like some video content depending on but I just try to keep him to do as little as possible. And he does the same for me, just to respect each other's time. You know, we're both still on that rise. We're both still like climbing, right? We're still on that journey of growth. And so we want to be selfish yet selfless. Like we want to be able to invest within ourselves constantly, but also be able to say, hey, I'm not doing anything right now. What do you need from me? I'm not tired, I'm willing to work, but also have that openness and that communication to be like, no, I can't. I'm tired. No, I can't. I have to work on that. Can we push it another day? Can we whoop? And luckily now we don't fight about it. Like, it's cool. Cause like we used to argue about it, scheduling and all these things, because you feel like the stakes are so high, when you're creating yourself and, building it and you have nobody really telling you what to do. And you're just kind of like flying by the seat of your pants. And so when you're doing that, it's hard to find that symbiotic, that dance in a way. But now it's nice because it's easy. It's super easy. And now I've learned to tell him to ask him to do things for me way in advance, and we Gucci to go.
I love that. I love that you shared like the tough parts too, because I think people see the highlight reel. They think, oh, that I wish I could have that, but they don't see like the arguments, the frustration, the times when it's not cool, that you have to get through in order to find your flow. It takes a while. So thank you so much for being willing to share that. And what would you say for a person just starting out when it comes to just trying to figure out vegan cooking? I mean, because you throw down, what would be your top 3 to 5 tips for someone like, okay, I want to go vegan, but I love food like you, like me. And I can't just eat whatever. It's got to taste good. What would be your advice to them?
Ooh, seasoning is everything when you're making vegan food. For real. Like I use poultry seasoning, I try to use simple seasonings, none with any extra acid and whoop, waddy, whoop, whoop. But simple seasoning, poultry seasoning, steak seasoning, fish seasoning, seaweed, things that literally you would season meat and fish with, but I just season vegetables. I season mushrooms. I season cauliflower as my meat. Those are if I'm going to try to make if I want that meatiness in a recipe, I always go for either cauliflower or oyster mushrooms most of the time, but mushrooms in general. And if I'm looking for, switch it up a little bit, chickpeas. Chickpeas are so versatile. Number one, you can just eat them and they're delicious. You can season them, you can smash them, you can fry them, you can bake them, you can turn them into powder. You can literally, if you get chickpea powder, flour, you can literally make so many baked goods. So chickpeas, mushrooms, and cauliflower are going to be your next best friends, guaranteed. And I would say the main key point to going vegan, staying vegan, number one, like I said, seasoning is everything. But the main thing is keep it simple. Don't try to complicate it. Realistically work with what time you have. If you have 20 minutes a week to cook, you can still make it happen. It is still possible to make it happen. And the easiest way to do that is through sheet pan dinners, where you just make you get out a huge sheet pan, you get a bunch of vegetables, every single color, red, orange, yellow, purple, green. Throw those mushrooms and that cauliflower in there, throw some chickpeas in there, put that poultry seasoning on in there, put either, vegetable broth or oil, really just the same way you bake potato, season it up. So you put all that seasoning in there and you bake it, and then you have literally a meal for a week. If that's one person, now you can do 2 sheets, and obviously you have more. But you can put that in tacos. You can put that on top of a salad. You can put that in a sandwich. You can just eat it by itself. Rice bowl, rice and beans next to it. Open up a can of black beans. Cook some rice. You don't even have to cook the rice. You can get a packet of rice. Whatever. You can keep it literally so simple. And you can eat different things every single day, even if you're still making those sheet pan dinners. Because you use different seasoning, you use different vegetables, you use different kinds of beans. Sometimes you use the mushrooms, sometimes you use the cauliflower. Sometimes you throw in jackfruit if you're feeling crazy. But yeah, the sheet pan dinner is going to be literally the key to going vegan, staying vegan. I should honestly just make a whole book about sheet pan dinners because it's so cheap. It's so cheap. You can eat it the whole week long. And that's just the easiest way.
Yes, I have not filmed it yet, but you inspired me to do sheet pan dinners. I actually had never done it before. I mean, I made different things like pizza and stuff like that, but just putting a whole different lines of vegetables. I feel like I'd seen it before, but I really wasn't inspired to do it until I saw you. And I was like, that looks good. It's just something about your energy and the way you did it. I was like, because usually I was like, oh, that looks like boring. And, I make food like one at a time, but I agree. It's so easy. And people don't realize a lot of people say they don't have time to cook and they think meal prep and they think those plastic containers and things like that. But with the sheet pan, it's like you cook it all in there and then you put it away. And like you said, you have it forever. So I love your sheet pan recipes.
Yeah. And the same thing is with curries, is with Jamaican purple stew, Jamaican oxtail. Like you can make stew, like literally you could feed yourself for a week. I kid you not. You have to cook one day. And I would say you cook for an hour total. You make a sheet pan dinner, you make a stew or a soup, big pot, big, boom, that's it. That's it. Mm-hmm. And the rest is whatever you want to put with it. You put the salad with it. You could put carbs with it. You could put a piece of toast. It doesn't really matter. You good. You really can live off of that and it will be inexpensive. I would say you could spend $50 easily on simple recipes.
Y'all, if y'all are not watching this on YouTube, you got to go to YouTube. Every single podcast we put on YouTube and just the vibration, the singing, the beauty that exudes. And we're over here dancing and shimmying and all the things, but that's how good you feel when you really love. You can tell that you're passionate about what you do. You love what you do. And that is absolutely contagious. And I agree with you on chickpeas because somebody cuts me open. They were like, this girl is like 70% chickpeas. Because I have chickpea pizza, chickpea pasta. I eat chickpeas just by themselves. You're right. They're just so much that you can make with them. And I love that you gave people those staples because a lot of people feel like if they're not a chef, if they're not good in the kitchen, then they can't go vegan. But like you said, a stew, sheet pan dinners, I think that's a good idea. I love your cookbook that you have out now for y'all who don't know. She has a ebook that's out now, but sheet pan dinners, I don't know if that's out there yet. I think it's a great idea. I
like it. Yeah. I mean, everyone always asks me that question, like, what's the easiest meal I can make? And I send them about 4 or 5 because I do so many sheet pan dinners. It's just what I do. It's anytime I'm traveling at all and people are like, hey, can you make food for us? I make sheet pan dinners because number one, normally I'll just make tacos or, some beautiful bowl, but it's just easy. It really is just the easiest. And I like it even better than like a stir fry. Because with a stir fry, you have to man it, right? You have to like pay attention to what you're doing. With a sheet pan dinner, you just leave it in there. You go take care of your other business, set an alarm. Please don't burn your house down. But, you can watch it, you can open it, check it, but with the other kinds with like a saute, which would be the other easy way to make a recipe, the exact same concept, but you put it in like a big pan or a big bowl, right? So I think it's easier because you don't have to think about it. So that's what I do.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much. I know a lot of people are going to be trying those sheet pan recipes. And then I want to talk a little bit about like kind of the business aspect. And I know you talked about you got the download from Spirit, and then you created this lifestyle of well-being, which spirituality is our first number one pillar, and you found your purpose through making this life change. So that's beautiful. And then you develop this lifestyle for yourself and then your husband. And so now let's talk about your entrepreneurship journey, because I know that hasn't been easy either. And a lot of people might look at you now and be like, dang, how'd she do it? So can you share us a little bit about the struggle and then how you really figured out what worked for you?
Yes. Well, wow. Okay. So it all started when I decided to start the catering company. And for the beginning, my husband funded it. He was, a graphic designer. He was the only one really making money in our relationship. And so he was paying for all of my equipment, for all my design, for all of my marketing materials and whatnot. And so that was how it was for a year, 2 years when I was first trying to figure out, do I want to do catering? Do I want to do meal prep? And then, I started to make money from the catering and from the meal prep. And we kind of started to see the investment come back from whatever various events I started popping up at. But, with those kind of events, it's hit or miss. It really is. You can either take home a lot of money or you can lose it all, and you're left with a bunch of food. So what really took off was 2020. When I started to recognize that, well, actually it was in 2019 at the very end of 2019 and very beginning of 2020. So my whole life changed when Oprah's team reached out to me and they were like, hey, do you want to sing on the Oprah tour? And I was like, heck yes. Like, of course, like hang out with Oprah and sing and do what I want to do in front of thousands of people. Yes, I will do. And get paid? Yes, I will do that. So I did that in, I think it was January or December, January of 2021 or 2020. And that was right before the pandemic. So I did my first singing opportunity with them. I think it was February. And then here comes March coming around saying, hello, hello. And what's crazy is right before March, I was supposed to do like more tours. Like I was supposed to go to New York and LA, pop up, do events, start to really invest in myself as a musical chef. So I started doing more like pop-up events where I would dinner and a show in a sense. I would basically get every single month, I would get like 50 to 60 people. They would all buy tickets to come make food with me. And I would sing to them. Like literally it was what you see. It was what you see, but it was happening in real life. And it was so much fun. And that's like basically how I made money. Every single month I would like rely on this big event. I would theme it, Caribbean Christmas, New Year, New Glow, Thanksgiving. I would do it all out and I'll create all different songs, different recipes, go shopping. It was so much work, but I loved it. So when the pandemic happened, I was like, okay, I love it and I can't stop it. So the March 14th, I had my very last event. It was called Comfort Food Feast. And we all came and everyone was so excited. We got to have this final event because we didn't know what was going to happen in the world. And everyone was just having good energy, good vibes and positivity going forward. And my husband and I looked at ourselves that night and we were like, hey, no matter what happens, we're going to come out of this on top. We're going to come out of this. We literally said, we're going to come out of this with contracts. That's literally the words we said. And so we was like, okay, let's get to it. So March 16th happened and we were like, boom, boom, we're all done. And so I decided, okay, well, what can I offer? Because the world has nothing right now. Right now, we're kind of in this strange place where we don't know what to do. So I was like, okay, I can offer the exact same thing I was offering every month, but I could do that every week. I could host that with non-perishable food items. That's how it began, was because everyone was buying non-perishable food items. I was like, I got you with the recipes, with the non-perishables. And so I just started doing that and I haven't stopped. Like I literally did not stop. I kept doing it every weekend. And it became the thing that more and more people started to come to. Now, flash back to 2018, when my husband and I were starting to build One Great Vegan, right before I really started launching it as a catering company, I got TikTok in 2018, right when it was still Musical.ly. And so we started posting on it back then and just started really just posting, sharing daily truths, you are who you are. You have every right to be here. You have nothing to prove. And just sharing that with the world and, who watched it, I don't care, but I just wanted to put that out there. And so flash forward, now we're coming back to that same time when I started doing live classes. Well, every time I had a live class, I always had this beautiful meal. And I was like, man, I really should do something with this other than just my live class. So I started making TikToks, little TikTok videos. My first ever kinds of TikTok videos were more music video style. They weren't about making the recipe. They were more like pulled pork and baby, like me dancing with it, which I still enjoy doing. But now I teach people how to make the recipe because so many people were like, how do you make it though? And I was like, I got you with it. So yeah, so basically, TikTok popped off in 2020, right? So once that popped off, I was one of the first creators on there, and I'm singing about food. So obviously that was very like, whoa, this is crazy. And people started recognizing like, wow, she's creating original content. She's creating something that I'm down for, she's creating something that's different, and the recipes are actually decent. So yeah, people just started really engaging with me. And then Beyond Meat reached out to me and they were like, hey, we would love to, send you a bunch of products. And if you want to put them in your class. And I was like, heck yes, Beyond Meat, I'm a fan. Let's do it. And so I did that and it went well. And so then other brands started reaching out to me and they started to actually like want to really collaborate with me on like a payment way. And honestly, at the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing. I was like really undercharging myself and it was sad, but I had to learn that. And I had to recognize like what I'm worth. I had to recognize how much time it takes to make all my videos. And so I slowly but surely, I started to just recognize my worth more and more every single day. And also like, realistically, how much time does it take me to go get the groceries? How much money does it cost for me to get the groceries? Really, what is it taking to make this happen? And also, how can I create content not only just for brands, but also content I want to create just for myself? I want to make juicy vegan baby back ribs. I want to make, cheesy corn fritter fries. I want to make all these things that maybe brands aren't asking me to make, but I know that people want. So I had to take that into consideration when I started to like recognize like, oh my gosh, I'm worth more than that. I'm worth more than that. I can't do that because it takes away from my time. And I'm so blessed because I have an agent and I've known her since I was 19 years old. She was there with me through my whole vegan journey. She was in college with me. She was an actress with me. And she's like one of my closest friends. Like we were roommates. And so when I started doing, brands started reaching out to me, I was like, girl, I have no idea what to do. She'd always been my acting agent, like sending me out on movie and TV. In fact, I literally just got an email for an audition. But so she had always taken care of me in that way, but I was like, I have no idea what to do. She knew exactly what to do. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I should ask the professionals. And so she basically took care of me from there forth. And so I'm very blessed to have not only a friend, but somebody who understands my food, somebody who understands my brand, somebody who's seen me from 0 followers, like literally from nothing, from like, what are you doing? Like, oh, you're vegan. She was never thought it was weird, but okay, you're vegan. Cool. I guess like, good luck with that to now. Like, she's making money from this as well. So it's been really cool and getting to like help my husband and getting to like, create with him. And now brands are starting to ask for him to be in content because he's creating. I don't know if you've seen his TikToks. He be getting millions of views on TikTok. And I'm like, you go, baby, you go with it. So
I love that. That's so beautiful because it's like when people help, it just shows how you might at one point be supporting one person's dream, but every single person that's part of it benefits from it. And I love that, there's that branch off and people realize that we are in a creator economy. And if you're willing to create content constantly, you got a job right now.
Yes. It is a full-time job. And what's so funny is I was actually talking to somebody yesterday and I was like, I do this thing once a month that I call a potato day. It was actually yesterday on Sunday. And I don't post on social media. I don't go on social media. I eat whatever I want. I watch whatever I want. I just exist. I don't try to let anybody know about my existence. I just exist. And it's so cleansing. And it's so funny because I said, yeah, I do this once a month. She was like, wait, once a month you don't post on social media? I was like, yes, I post on social media every single other day of the month. Because to me, the way I view social media is, number one, I always have something to say. Like I always got cute photos to share, delicious recipes, a silly song or a proverb. I always got something to say. But also my main goal is to be a cooking show host, is to have my own cooking show. And the only way to do that is to make sure producers and casting directors and agents and these people know I exist. And the only way to do that is post every day. So I was like, okay, I realized because of my acting background, I realized, oh, there's a faster way for me to get exactly what I want. And it's posting every single day, opposed to like auditioning. And, I can create myself as a voice, as a very talented actor, or I can do that. And I can also build myself on social media and connect with casting producers and agents and, people who will ultimately give me a cooking show. I can connect with them on a way that they can see me every day, opposed to when they're looking for me.
That's really smart. And I kind of want to talk there now, because I love about, how you slowly worked your way up on social media, doing what you love, following your passion, and it started paying off. And I love how you talked about how you weren't valuing yourself. And it really took you getting some help. I feel like a lot of times we don't want to reach out, but having someone that you trust, that was such a blessing to have that person step up in your life and help you out. So when it comes to acting, I know you had some help as well, but can you talk a little bit about that journey? Because I know we do have some people who are interested in that world, but they feel like, especially being a minority, like what are some of the things that you face and how are you dealing with those challenges now?
Oh, wow. Well, number one, I was the only Black person in my college, department. Well, the only Black woman. And so it was very strange. Every Black role went to me, but I didn't really understand my Blackness. So I was kind of just pretending. But through the plays, I kind of did learn my Blackness, and I learned about heritage, and I was blessed to work with other, the 5, maybe 4 other Black people in the entire department. No shade, but shade. It was Oklahoma, it's a part of it. But I think we're blessed now to be in 2020, where everyone's voice matters and everyone wants to be heard. And there's so much content to be created. The main thing about being an actor and even acting and telling stories is existing in your truth in all ways, at all shapes and forms, whether that be having lines, whether that be improv, whether that be interviewing with a casting producer, whether that be, meeting with an agency, just existing in your truth, because ultimately the only reason you book a job is because they see truth. The only reason you got that role is because they believe you, because it was true. So if you try to portray something that you aren't, then they will see through it. Because I sat on the casting side. I worked at casting agencies. I worked at talent agencies. And you can instantly see when somebody is not who they portray, who they're trying to be. They're holding themselves a certain way. So acting really is about just existing, breathing in your existence, and bringing truth to whatever the words are. Another thing I'll say about acting is not every role is meant for you. I've auditioned for hundreds of roles. I haven't gotten hundreds of roles, but I've been blessed to get whatever I got. And I've been blessed to also find my own way to become an actress and my own, my husband also films whatever I want. So if I want to film something, so I think if you are stepping into acting, if you are excited about telling stories, recognize that not every audition you're going to book it. It's going to be more likely that you're going to audition. And you have to learn to love auditioning. Because if you don't, that's the job. That's it. The job is auditioning all the time. So you got to learn to love it. You got to learn to just be 100% okay with being uncomfortably honest. And if you can do that, practice, breaking down to whatever your truth is, whatever it feels like to just be, then you got it. Or if you're doing commercials, you just have to look any kind of way. Doesn't really matter.
I have a deeper question for you, because I love how you're giving the real about the acting reality. Do you feel, because I definitely think as a fellow actress who doesn't really, definitely not a working actress, but I love telling stories, right?
Yeah.
How much do you feel doing your purpose and doing your passion? How much confidence does that give you? How much freedom does that give you? How much patience does that give you when it comes to your acting career? Because I know it has to affect it some.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I have such confidence in every audition I have because I know that audition isn't going to make me. I know that role isn't going to make me because I've already made me. I've already become, and I'm becoming the queen that I always envisioned myself as. And now that I know my purpose and my truth, auditions are just fun. Like, in fact, I see almost every video I put out, every recipe. Now I kind of see it as an audition in a way, because to me, it's an audition to allow even more people to see my recipes and stuff like that. So I think there's such a sense of security, especially since I make money from this now too. I'm not relying on my acting career, oh my gosh, I hope I make money. I hope I make it big, I'm not worried about that. In fact, I don't care about making it big. I want to just exist in my truth. And I have such faith that if I continue to share my truth and help other people share their truth, that I'll spread my truth to exactly the right amount of people that want and need to hear it. So I think because I have the confidence and I'm not trying to become a, superstar actor, I'm just like having fun with everything.
I love it. Awesome. Well, I like doing a little Q&A at the end, and it's basically your favorite things at the end. So I know you say you love sheet pan. So I want to know, what is your most popular dish that you've made so far? What is like the crowd favorite?
Ooh, I mean, Haitian mac and cheese. Colorful creations, so sing it out loud. Haitian mac and cheese. She popular. She really popular. A lot of people made her. But I would say, oh my gosh, I mean, my most viral recipe of all time is my deep fried fish with tartar sauce. So many people have made it. It's been the most shared. So I think that's the most popular. But people always, I feel like, create the recipe like in the heat of the moment. Like, oh my gosh, she just released something. In fact, what's crazy is some people will even create my recipes before I released it. They'll see a picture of it and they're like, I'm going to guess what she did.
Oh, I love that. Well, I'm going to get on the Haitian mac and cheese. I'm going to make that fish because I'm like, let me go to those ones. But I'm just so excited for so many people to discover, so many more people to discover you, so many more people to try your food and try your recipes because they're so good, and just get in the vibration. I think your vibration is so high and so contagious. It helps people like not worry and forget about, like, there's a lot of things going in the world, but when you're eating that colorful food, when you're listening to your beautiful voice, you just kind of go into this ecstasy, this bliss place for a little bit. So,
and what's happening in the world is real. And, I've been through some very real things. Like, I don't have parents. So I know what it's like in this world and what's really happening. I see not everything is sunshine and rainbows, and you can't distract yourself from what's really happening. But the way I approach everything in life is, what can I realistically do? So I can't cure everything going on in the world. I can't solve the injustices of the world, but I can make a choice to bring joy. I can make a choice to share positivity. And I hope that's what other people feel too. I hope people don't see me as more of like, something in a sense of like a distraction, but I'm excited to be hope, a thing of possibility, and something that people can confront the truth with, but also give the gift of possibilities with. I know it sounds crazy, but
no, I love that. I think it's so important because you're only one person, and you are enough to do whatever it is you can do, and whatever it is that is the highest resonant for you. And I think that's important for everyone to know, not to feel like they have to solve all the world's problems, because it's not meant for any of us to do that. But look at how you just live in your passion. Your inspiration, your influence has increased just because you're doing what you love. And I think that's really the message that I'm hearing from you, like doing what you love, following your truth, being your true self, even when it's hard, and doing it consistently. I think that's one thing that you exude about, like taking that one potato day. I'm going to get that in. I'm going to get in a potato day here for the holidays, a couple potato days. But I love that because it is about resting and recovering and having some time for yourself. So what other things do you do to get loved up, to really take care of yourself with all this filming, with all this being on? What are your favorite ways to like rest and recover and love yourself?
I drink celery juice every day, every single day. In fact, oh my gosh, I didn't drink celery juice today. Oh, I went shopping for celery instead today, but I drink celery juice. At least I try to every single day. And that really sets me up to have an incredible day. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know honestly what's happening, but I'm not mad at it in any way, shape, or form. So that's the biggest way I can treat myself. I also enjoy just watching TV. I watch so much true crime. Like, I am a huge true crime fanatic. I've watched everything on YouTube, every channel. Like, everyone's like, well, have you seen this one? Yes, I've seen every season of it. Like, and it's so funny because people don't know it, because I just don't care to talk about, oh yeah, y'all want to check out this death and destruction real quick? It's dope. But I love it because I think for me, I'm very fascinated by the peak of human destruction. I'm fascinated by why humans do what they do, and I'm just very curious. And so also I think, spewing sunshine and rainbow all day, you got to have that balance of, reality and grounding. And I love to just find out what's really happening in the world, like really what is going down, because I just don't want to live in ignorance. So that's the way I chill too. I guess I enjoy soaking in more truth, the other side of truth.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep. And that's what duality is all about. It's all happening and we're all a part of it. And we choose the role we play in the duality of our reality. I
like that. Duality.
I love that. One last thing. If you had one piece of advice that you gave someone who walked up to you on the street and said, I need help, what advice would you give them?
You are who you are. You have every right to be here. You have nothing to prove because you are who you are. Because you have every right to be here. And that's why you have nothing to prove. And I would keep repeating it to them until they believed it, because it's so inherently true. We have so much self-doubt. We have so much fear of going hard at our dreams. But the only reason we exist is to go hard at our dreams. The only reason we exist is to bring passion and possibilities to this world and to share it with others. So once you align yourself with the fact that you have every right to exist, and you don't have to show people why you exist, you can just exist. Once you center yourself in that, things start to get a little bit easier. It starts to really get simple. So I know it's hard for a lot of people to hear that and to believe it, but once you start to just say it to yourself literally every day, you start to believe it. Because you start to realize how little you have to prove to this world. Ashe,
I love that. Well, thank you so much. Now it's time for you to share your big news. Let everybody know what you got going on and what you got coming up.
Well, I do have another cookbook coming out. So she's cute. Yes. It's about my culture. So I took a DNA test and I found out I'm literally from every continent, literally, like Italian, Arab, Native American, East Asian. No, I had no idea. So my whole cookbook is going to be about just diving into who that is, like what that means. Because I had no idea. So I'm coming out with a new cookbook. And then also I'm going to be a part of the TikTok cookbook, the official TikTok cookbook, which is coming out, I think, in June. Yes. Ooh. I'm so excited. And guess what? My Haitian recipes are in there. Yes. My Haitian recipes made it in. And so I'm excited to share that. And, you know, I have no idea what it's going to look like, which is kind of exciting. It's a book made out of like all of, I guess, their favorite TikTok recipes. And I was like, oh my gosh, I made it. Woo. So
yes, congratulations. That's amazing. I can't wait to see it.
Yes, I'm really excited to share. I don't have any like visuals with it yet. So I'm like waiting until I get the cover so I can like share it. But the other thing that's coming out, my husband and I are coming out with an album because people keep asking for it. They keep begging for it. And we were like, it's time.
Hey.
It's time to get
I can't wait. Wow, yes, that is phenomenal.
Exciting stuff coming up.
I love it. And tell everybody where they can find you, because I know they're going to want more of you after they hear this episode. They're going to want to dive into your food, dive into your recipes, dive into your life. So let people know.
Yes, you can find me literally everywhere. Like just search One Great Vegan with an O, O-N-E, Great Vegan. Or you can just type in Gabrielle Reyes on any platform and I will pop up with my little pink shirt and my little broccoli.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Gabrielle. It has been such a pleasure to have you on. I really appreciate all that your heart and soul that you pour into everything that you do.
Thank you so much. Your spirit. Thank you for your energy, your smile, your joy, what you're doing to this world. I'm just so excited for the future. And I'm excited for more people to enlighten themselves with what you're sharing, with what I'm sharing, with what, you know, all of us are sharing, with the possibility of healing. So I'm pumped, girl. I'm pumped.
Me too. And thank you all. Thank each and every one of you for tuning in to the Get Loved Up podcast every single week. Thank you for your reviews. If you loved any part of this episode, please tag me, tag Gabrielle, let us know, and just share the love. Share with someone you love, someone you appreciate, someone you want to, just share the good vibes with, because we love to see it, and sharing is caring. So until next time, love yourself, love others, and love the world in that order, one day at a time, one breath at a time. Peace and love.
I just want to take a moment to say thank you for being part of the Get Loved Up community. I like to share topics and people making a positive impact in the world, and your feedback means the world to me. If you haven't already left a review, please leave a 5-star review and let me know what you want to hear more of on the show. I'm here for you, and together we're making the world a better place, one day at a time, one show at a time. Thank you for listening.